South Africa announced that the 2025 Easter road crashes and fatalities were the lowest over the past 3 years. This was announced by the Transport Minister, Barbara Creecy, recently. And during that media conference, Creecy said all provinces recorded a decrease in crashes, except for Mpumalanga and the Eastern Cape. However, authorities in the hospitality and economic sectors believe that far less motorists were on the roads due to belt-tightening measures and uncertainty over the proposed VAT. Traditionally, the hospitality industry in KwaZulu-Natal performs quite well over the Easter weekend, but this year also saw a significant decline. So let's talk to Brett Tungay, who is the chairperson of the Federated Hospitality Association of South Africa. Brett, also, I hope I'm pronouncing your surname correctly. And just to admire the view that you have there, the majestic Drakensberg just behind you. However, that alone didn't seem to be a pull enough over the Easter season. And what you're sharing is, as we've seen the minister say, a significant drop in road crashes and fatalities this Easter, which you believe is directly linked to the decrease in domestic travel. So talk to us about why you think so, based on the evidence and feedback that your members are sharing with you.
Good morning. Yes, indeed. When we've just done some polling of our members across the country, definitely Easter didn't live up to expectations. It's a domestic weekend in terms of tourism. And we definitely, yes, of course, outliers, some members reporting exceptionally good Easter weekend. Generally, those were on the high end of the market. Your top end did exceptionally well. But again, it's your middle market, your 3-4 star, even 1 and 2 star, your camping. Definitely, we've seen the lowest numbers reported in many years for an Easter weekend. We'll have to wait for the official statistics to come through from Stats SA. This is just general polling around our membership at the moment with FedHosa. It's quite worrying. We saw quite a good recovery post the elections last year, and that took us all the way quite well up until December. And then post the December holidays, we saw a significant cool-off in the domestic tourism spend.
Yeah, and I want to come to that point,
which is understandable, unfortunately, in the market.
Yeah, I want to come to the cooling off in the domestic market spend. What are some of the key economic pressures, VAT concerns, inflation, political uncertainty potentially that are affecting spending in your sector the most right now?
Tourism and hospitality. Remember, we're luxury spec. Somebody will go out for dinner at the end of the month if they got that little bit extra. They'll go on a weekend away if they got that little bit extra. And so we're the first industry, really, if there's an economic slowdown, to feel it. And we definitely seen the numbers are just, the guys, the people are still spending, they're still going away, but not to the extent that we saw in the latter half of last year. And especially now with Easter weekend, I'm definitely, there's a couple of reasons. You've got, I think political instability is probably the number one reason. I think everybody was expecting quite a political change to come through after the elections with the coalition government. And none of that's really come to fruition. We haven't seen unemployment drop. We haven't seen economic growth. And I think that's starting to weigh on everybody's minds. And I think as soon as people are feeling a little bit of uncertainty, especially on the political side, people start tightening up the buckle.
So, from your perspective then, what kind of communication or policy clarity would help restore consumer and investor confidence in the sector?
For us, we need to see the consumer start getting more money in their pocket again. If they get more money in their pocket, there'll be that. So, yes, we have seen a slight decrease in the fuel prices. Interest rates are still high. Unemployment, job losses are still high. We need to see a reversal in that. We need to see fixed investment in the country. It's at an all-time low. We need to see foreign investment starting to come in. We need a business environment where people can actually do business. Just in the hospitality sector. I'm here in KZN. If you're going to open a new restaurant tomorrow, you're looking at between a year to year and a half just to get a liquor license. If you want to open a tour bus business, how long is it going to take you to get a permit just to operate a tour bus? The regulatory hurdles now put in place to start new businesses is immense. And then the other one is financing. If you look at the hospitality industry, we're mostly made up of SMMEs. You try and go and get financing as an SMME in our sector. Tourism and hospitality is not a favor of any of the banks. Now, if you want to go and start a lodge, you're probably going to be looking at having to come in with about 40-50% equity to be able to raise finance from the banks, which it's a huge impediment to entry into the industry.
Yeah.
But of course, that doesn't affect the underlying poor economy, unfortunately, that's behind it, which keeps us the bills going.
So many structural issues there, and we must ask and have those questions answered around making it much smoother to do, and especially accessible things like getting permits or licenses. That should be the most easy way to reduce friction for operators and small business. But let's talk about now moving into the winter travel season and mid-year holidays. What is FEDASA anticipating in terms of domestic tourism? Are there any specific interventions or campaigns planned to stimulate travel?
Yeah, so we've been engaging with like South African tourism and various provincial tourism bodies to market and boost, try and get the message out there that of the amazing destinations that we've got around South Africa. But it's again, there's only so far that you can go with marketing if the economy is not there behind you. So what we most likely, we do luckily have the European or Northern Hemisphere summer coming up, which means they started to travel quite a bit. And we're hoping that a bit of the slack will be picked up by the foreign market coming into South Africa and traveling. We do have impediments there, and unfortunately, a lot of that has been that volume that's coming into South Africa is being directed straight to the Western Cape and into Kruger. And we're needing to see campaigns coming out, especially from South African tourism, to try and get that foreign tourism spend spread more equitably across South Africa.
Yeah, and again, just looking at where you are, it's such a compelling, beautiful place, and getting that message. I was saying to Brett before our interview, I wish I could just swap places with him. But let's go back to the serious stuff. We've got economic growth forecast, Brett, right, under 1%. What's your message to public and policymakers about sustaining the hospitality industry during very tough times?
Yeah, South Africa, we need to see, we're a developing economy. We need to see 4, 5, 6, probably 7% growth just to be able to take up the slack. Yeah, currently we're making less than 50,000 new jobs a year at the moment. The population growth is much higher than that. So we're seeing that. We're seeing GDP amounts, they're going backwards. In terms of spend per capita, it's going backwards. We need to see deregulation in the markets. We need to see the ease of access to finance. We need, especially for SMMEs, we need to see deregulation across the board, not just in the hospitality sector. We need people to be able to open businesses easily, because that is where economic growth is going to come. It's from, and we have this argument a lot when I'm in development workshops. Everybody's looking for these big projects, these couple of billion rand projects, where tourism, you need only a few 100,000 to a few million. In the capital markets, it's relatively small numbers to get tourism businesses going. And tourism businesses in general are much higher. What would we say? Your capital to employment ratio is fantastic. The number of jobs that you create for every SMME that you open in the hospitality sector is huge. And the potential's there. You just have to look behind me. And this isn't the only amazing place in South Africa. The amount of amazing scenery, the cultural experiences, the cuisine, the wine, the game. It's amazing. The potential is ginormous. If you have to just look at the numbers, you have to look just the little island of Phuket in Thailand. I think the last time I looked, just Phuket alone gets 3 to 4 times the number of international travelers that the entire South Africa gets.
Wow.
The potential is huge. We need to just tap into it. But we're an emerging market. We need to realize we're an emerging market. We are not a developed economy. We cannot have the regulations of a developed economy. We need the regulations of an emerging market to be investor friendly.